Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 928 for the 8th of September. This SITREP is slightly later than what I intended to because I need to go out. So no choice. So I'm back. So immediately I'm on the recording now. So there is still more frontline changes after the frontline changes report. As of like 2-3 hours ago, around 3 hours ago, as per this recording. So there is a frontline change over at Sheptokovka. So the Ukrainian forces in this northern flank have been geolocated in a new location over this area here. And this confirmed Ukrainian presence around this part of the forest in the countryside, which invalidates Russian claims. The Ukrainians previously was already in this region here, but there was no more fighting for quite some time, and nobody know what the hell is happening. So at least we know that the Ukrainians most likely is still in the region. They are probably holding a defensive posture in this area here. So this is good to know, and we invalidated a bit more of the Russian claims. So yeah, it's going to be so entertaining to see the Russian mapping go crazy, because their mapping keep having to change. It keep getting invalidated, which is kind of funny. Luckily we don't follow them overly closely, or we'll go crazy together. So the next frontline change is over at Pischani. So over at Pischani front, there is more frontline changes. There is a geolocation of Russian forces on this tree line, confirming that the Russians have straightened the front line in this part of Pischani, which makes perfect sense because the Ukrainian forces can't possibly hold positions around here. So the Ukrainian positions probably along all the other tree lines, which makes a bit more sense. So anyway, this is the frontline change over at the Pischani front. And so the next frontline change is over at Mikhailivka. So over at Mikhailivka in the Pokrov front, there is geolocation of Russian forces immediately invalidating yesterday's invalidation. Yesterday, Russian claims was invalidated. Now the Russians restake their claim with soldiers geolocated exactly north of where the Ukrainian tank was previously geolocated. So this leads to some invalidation of Ukrainian claims further up north, all the way to this hill or this mining region here. So the Russian forces definitely had this region. Because they need for the infantry to be here, some part of the front line have to be under Russian control in order to make sense. And anyway, this is a field, so the most likely the Ukrainians can't be on this field. But along the roads, along some of these forests or Dacha region, that's possible. But for the Russian forces to be here must be no more Ukrainian forces, as the Ukrainian forces use drone to attack them. But yeah, so that is what it is. And the next frontline change is over at Palivka. So this is also very significant, with Russian forces geolocated to have crossed the Kashlakhash River. So this is the first time in a long time, probably more than a year, that the Russian forces have actually entered across the river at Palivka. So this is a very significant move, which means that the Russians may be looking to secure the northern part of Palivka and put further pressure on Voleda. So anyway, we'll talk more about this in the strategic and tactical reporting. And so we go into the strategic and tactical reporting. So just for a reminder, press the like button, subscribe, especially if you are new to this channel, or you are not subscribed to this channel, because you should check the button below if you are subscribed, because this is the DPA War channel. The main channel is a separate channel where I cover things that I believe it will be more viral. SITREP is a bit more of a bit of like a dry thing, because it's reporting, pure reporting. Only Giga Chats will watch it. If you're not Giga Chat, I don't blame you. You don't subscribe. It's okay one. It's perfectly fine, because if you are not a wimpy person, how can we be Giga Chats? There must be a hierarchy. For us to go up, you must be below. So unless you want to be part of us, then press the subscribe button. So we're going to go on to the strategy and tactical reporting. Again, I want to go from the anti-clockwise direction. We start from Kherson. At Kherson region, there is no fighting being reported at the pre-Dnipropetrovsk direction this time round. However, there's shelling reported at Dnipropetrovsk, Antonivka, Vasily, as well as what is this? Vasily and Odradom Kayamka. Odrado, Kayamka. So these few locations got reported shelling by the Russian Defense Ministry. I think there's one more along the further coast. Yeah, there's two more. So and there's also shelling reported at Harilivka as well as Novokairi. So these two locations. So interesting shelling divisions. I wonder, what's the deal? Suddenly there's a lot more shelling. Like, is there a increased number of Ukrainian forces along the Kherson front? Like, recently, suddenly they appeared. I'm not sure. Like, there's something to watch. These are all signals. This is how intel work. So anyway, we move on to the Zaporizhia front. Over at the Zaporizhia front, there is fighting reported in the Orikhiv sector, where the Russian forces are attacking Robotine and Malatomachka. The reports coming from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry about this fighting, there is always all these reports, but no, there's no changes, so we do not know what the hell is happening. So we will continue to monitor. And for those that may have noticed, this entrenchment mapping looks a bit different. This updated thanks to the help of Oliver. So Oliver, talked to me about this. He got more, updated versions, and then I combine it with whatever I have, and we have this very, very comprehensive one, including no more entrenchments, all the entrenchment around the Sumy region, the Bryansk region, Kursk region, all included now. And there's also all the entrenchment around the Popasna region. All these are previously unavailable. I don't have this previously. Around Holivka, Donetsk. So now it looks super comprehensive now, and all the way down to Mariupol. So this is a very, very significant update regarding the entrenchment mapping. So you probably can see it if you want to look at this map over in the description below. The link is in the description to the Defense Politics Asia website. And I also helped him to do some codings to lighten the weight of all these entrenchment markers, which will help him with his animation and everything. So yeah, I paid for the help in a way. Yeah, no, he didn't ask for it, but I helped him anyway. So we go into the Donetsk front. At the Donetsk front, there is fighting reported along the Voleda line. There is fighting reported at Velika Novosilka and Zolotaneva. The one at Palivka, this is actually this is the latest report. This is coming after yesterday. So we probably will see some updates regarding some fighting report at Palivka in tomorrow's situation report. And again, Zolotaneva, this is reported by the Russian Defense Ministry. I know that there are some pro-Russian sources claim that Zolotaneva has been captured. And that report is already 4 days old or 5 days old. It still have not happened yet. So I do urge people to be mindful, always fact check. And if you really don't want to spend the effort, just watch DPA. I will fact check for you. I just want to share also, the whole point of why I do all this mapping wasn't actually for money in the first place. Originally, it's just that I know that the Ukraine war is about to happen. I know the mainstream media cannot be trusted. I know there will be a lot of fake news, which is why I decided to map it. Because I always been an admirer of the work by the Live UAA map, and I thought that I could have done it myself as well for the Ukraine war. And when the war broke out, I started to map all the places where fighting was reported, where the Russians were spotted, and that's how I started from day one. And from there we just built, and then suddenly the channel exploded, and yeah, we have the DPA today. So. And the reason is purely because I want to know the truth myself. So I'm not going to cope. I'm not going to take biased positions because no point. The whole point was that I wanted the truth. So this is my position. So anyway, at the Vodyane region, there is okay. I just want to talk about a bit more about Palivka. So the fact that the Russian forces have been geolocated here suggests that they may push northward on the western part of Voleda. So this is a possibility. But anyway, I just want to highlight this a possibility in case you miss the conclusions, which I'll probably go a bit more about this. Over at the Vodyane region, the Ukrainian mapping deep state UA has declared Vodyane captured, or Vodyane captured by the Russian forces. So this is the Ukrainian information. They claim that the Russians have taken the entire Vodyane, and this comes as a very little bit of a surprise to me, just a little bit, because there's no fighting. In essence, there's almost no fighting, because given the fact that there was literally no fighting being reported, it was just suddenly, like there's a capture. So the Ukrainian Defense Ministry did mention the fighting around Vodyane, but the Ukrainian mapping has already seemed to suggest that the Ukrainians have just bolted from this area here. So we shall see how this continue to collapse. This collapsed way too fast for what I think is if you look from a pro-Ukrainian perspective, this is very, very concerning. But whether the pro-Ukrainians actually cares about this, or they are still thinking about because it's offensive, then of course then it doesn't really matter. Konstantinivka region, they're still fighting in this area here, as well as towards Katerinivka. So that's about it. As you can see, the Russians are very, very busy in this region here. So there is geolocation of a tank getting hit by a FPV drone far away from the front line. So as long as you are a tank, you're not being anywhere in the vicinity of the front line is dangerous. This is 7-8 kilometers. This is so far away, and they still got struck. And yeah, life sucks as an armored vehicle in the modern warfare. Over in the Marinka region, there's fighting reported at the Georgievka region, as well as in the Krasnohorivka region. Specific vector of attack is unknown, so we'll continue to monitor. And there is no more updates regarding the Nevelsky collapse at this moment. We don't have any information for the past 24 hours. Over at the Hernik region, fighting is reported at Ukraine's Dolinivka, sorry, I said it wrong. Dolinivka and Helistinivka. So tentatively, the fighting is in this region here, but we'll continue to monitor the situation. There is no fighting reported at Hernik, so the window to retreat is still there. So the Ukrainian forces that is in this salient should retreat, because don't hold a position that is hopeless. Don't waste your life. Fight in the place where it's worth fighting in. So or at least where you have a better chance. So that's how I think about it. So anyway, moving on. Over in this Selidove region, there is fighting reported at Selidove. Russian forces geolocated just on the western part of Mikhailivka, as mentioned in the frontline changes report. So that means that the Russians have actually retaken certain positions, and there is fighting reported in the Mikhailivka region. So fighting is still in this region. Marinivka also, there was fighting reported here. So fighting is pretty much in the more or less the same place. There is not much change in the situation. Looks like this is going to be the front line for some time. Look like the Pokrov offensive is tentatively put aside, I believe, and the Russians are now focusing on the Nevelsky salient. This is what I feel like is happening. Moving in the north, in the Horodivka region, there is fighting reported at the Horodivka region, as well as in the Novohorodivka region. There is multiple geolocations around Lysivka of Russian FPV drone attacking Ukrainian forces. And I want to say my nose is super itchy. I don't know why. Give me a second. It's super weird. Every time I do recording, my nose starts to get very itchy. It's like when I talk, the vibration just vibrate hair in my nose, and then it's like, yeah, it's itchy time. And then yeah, very triggering. So over in the northern flank of the Pokrov front, Russian forces attacking Zelenopole, as well as Vozdevzenka and Novotoretsky. They continue to report this as Novotroitsky. To my displeasure, but I just gotta take it as it is. It is definitely not Novotroitsky, at least not on my map. So that's what it is. Torets. I don't know how to read the Slavic word. Okay, we move on to the New York front. At the New York front, the fighting is reported mainly in the New York Thorax region. There is no fighting reported on the western flank. Over in this region, there is fighting reported in Druzhba, Pivnishny, Thorax, Zalizny, towards Skibinivka, Nelipivka, and New York. This is a combination of all the different reports from the Russian Defense Ministry, Ukrainian Defense Ministry, Russian-Ukrainian sources. But if you put all of them together, it just looked like a full frontal attack. Fighting is reported literally everywhere, and the only frontline change is that the Russians claim that they have closed up the salients around here, uh, and they are still pushing Nelipivka. The front line looks straighter, makes a lot of sense over there. Over in the Thorax region, the Russian forces has been geolocated on the west of the prison. According to the Russian mapping, they claim that they have captured the prison. Personally, I'm not so sure about that, because capturing the prison means that you have to enter the prison as well. No, is prisons are usually built like a fortress, so I'm not fully sure if they actually have objective control of the fortress, of not of the fortress, of the prison, but they could also use it as a fortress, which is an interesting thing. So let's continue to wait for more information. It looks like a very huge complex, like it looks like a super big complex from end to end. This is like half a kilometer, almost half a kilometer's worth of a fortress, which is very, very huge. Yeah, I'm surprised that the Ukrainians did not use it as a defensive position. So, yeah, might be very smelly over there. Well, we move into the Bakhmut front. In the southern flank of the Bakhmut front, we continue to have fighting reported at Priteshne and Bilohora. Continue to be very puzzling to me. Fighting reported at Klishevka and Andrievka. And the Bilohora as well as the Priteshne is reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So there is no way to confuse this for possible shelling, because in the Russian report sometimes they merge the attacks and the shelling in the same paragraph. But Ukrainians say that there is fighting in the region, so it's a bit of a difference. Like, for example, the Russians were active in the area of Bilohora and Priteshne. Uh, this is literally saying that the Russians are nearby, and the front line is nowhere close to all these locations. That's why sometimes it's very puzzling. We move further on. Over in the northern flank, we have the return of Zaliniansky. Zaliniansky reported fighting again. There's fighting reported Kharkovka as well as Chasivia. The significant one is the first time we have fighting reported at Maisky. Not the first time, it's like the third time reported at Maisky. And so Maisky is the next settlement after the fall of Kalinina. So assuming that the Russian claim of the capture of Kalinina means that the Russians have the front line looking like this, then if they continue to attack through this hilly region, this very weird terrain region, this hilly region moving towards in the northwestern direction, then that is Maisky. So that is a possibility. And we shall continue to monitor the situation in this front line. What the Russians could be trying to do, we're not sure. Of course, there's the number of entrenchment around here is lesser. There's a lot of there's some window that the Russians could penetrate through, but it's unclear. It's definitely unclear if that is a sensible thing to do. We shall see how this develop. I don't think the Russians want to fight in the city of Kramatorsk. So yeah, I'm not very, very convinced. So we move into the Sivers front. At the Sivers front, Sivers offensive continues with fighting reported near Sivers, Verkhem and Bilohorivka, Kharkovka, and shelling reported at Serbianka. So there is continued fighting in these regions here. Sivers continue to be mentioned by the Russian Defense Ministry as they wrote, continue advancing into the depth of the enemy defenses and inflicted losses at Sivers or near Sivers. So it is, that's why I say the Russian reports, you can take it, it's a possible shelling. It could also be ground offensive. You have to kind of like make some judgment call when you read their reports. So let's continue to wait for this development to reveal itself. Over in the Crimea front, fighting is reported at Novosadove, Torske, as well as Dibrova. So the usual things. We move into Svetove front. At the Svetove front, we have fighting reported at Nevsky and Cheneshkina. But that's about it. We don't have anything else regarding the Svetove front. Moving further up north, we have shelling reported at Borova. So I decided to add some of these shelling reports just to get some sense of what the hell is happening. And over at the Pischane front, At the Pischane front, we have fighting reported in Mesozarivka, Stemekivka, towards Lozova, Berestove, Krylyakivka, Kolesnivkivka, Khrushchevka, and in the Pischane region. So you can see the entire region is very, very active. The Russians are pushing in all directions, and so this must be some kind of a major offensive direction, but the progress is very, very slow, or there's a severe lack of reporting in this region here. The only one that we have a lot, you can see my nose is so itchy, is at Pischane region. So the in the southern flank, the Russian forces seems to have expanded control. This is based on Russian claims. This is not confirmed yet. Geolocation confirming that this weird formation here is closed up. The Russians have control over it, and the Russian claimed to have further control on the north of that position. So we will continue to monitor the situation because this is still very vague. The Russians, as I mentioned before, are still trying to consolidate into a very strong position, a very strong bulge. When a bulge is hard and strong, is solid, then they can do more. They can penetrate further and deeper into the Ukrainian defense. So moving into the Kupiansk front. At the Kupiansk front, Russian forces claim, based on Ryba's report, Ryba claimed that they have captured Sinkivka. The Russian forces captured Sinkivka. Fighting is still being reported over there. Fighting is reported at Petropolivka. Shelling reported at Kupiansk, Lozovi, Vozlovi, as well as at shelling is reported at Kisharivka. I've downgraded the fighting into shelling because I decided to start mapping in the shelling for these fronts. So I think it's more correct for it to be called shelling. So that's the main thing. So that's all from the Kupiansk front. Oh, there's one more. Stepova Novoselivka. Almost missed it. So there's fighting reported in this region. This is interesting. We haven't seen fighting over here since the 29th of August, around more than 1 week. So let's wait and see how this develop in this region. Moving further into the Kharkiv front. And at the Kharkiv front, there is some very interesting development. The Russians are harassing the Ukrainian forces in more locations. So there's fighting reported at Okremivka, over in Taike, Voschansk, Staritsia, as well as this area is called what? Khoptivka. So these are the various positions that the Russians seem to be attacking. And on top of this, there is also shelling reported over in Sosnivka. So this is interesting that we see that there is fighting reported here. Despite the Russian Defense Ministry, they mentioned Hotivka, Okremovka, Sosnivka. So the Russians are definitely trying to tickle the Ukrainian forces in the Kharkiv region, just like my nose hair is tickling my nose. Yeah, very disturbing. So irritating. So we move into the Kursk front. In the Kursk front, we go into the southern flank first. In the southern flank, Russian forces attack Ukrainian forces at Borki. And there is geolocation of Ukrainian forces getting hit by drones in near the Makhanovka and Dmitrievka, Terivkov region. So there's some shelling, some FPV drone attacks around there. But that's about it. Very, very quiet flank around here. In the eastern flank, we have eastern flank. I think maybe I should zoom in. Let's see how this goes. Ukrainian forces attacking at Cherkaskoye Prashnoye region. Russian forces attacking at Motanovka region. Shelling reported at Kozachya Loknia and the first Y. Kinyazi. Almost like some kind of a Yakuza. Kinyazi. No, one Y Kinyazi. Kudasai. And then that's it. That's in this region here. And we move into the northern flank. And the northern flank is where the interesting thing is happening. There is still, maybe I should zoom out a bit. Yeah. There is still Ukrainian attack in the region of Malaya Loknia. So the Russian, I have mapped it in this way because based on the reported information, it seems like the Russians are in this area here according to the Russian mapping. There is geolocation, however, just north of this salient that I've just drawn, confirming Ukrainian presence around there as they fight in the region of Merevka as well as Pogrebki. Ukrainian forces geolocated to be attacked in the forest in this northern flank, where we have this massive gray zone confirming Ukrainian presence around this forest. And previously we do have Russian forces trying to go down from Kauchuk, and so I believe the Ukrainian presence is definitely still in the region. They are holding defensive posture. Mainly that's the main thing we should take a look at in this area. As mentioned just now, Cherkasskoye Parashnoye is over here. The Ukrainians were attacking in this region here. So, but strategically speaking, nothing really changed around here. The change are all very tactical, and but the front line did not really change much at all, generally speaking. So despite the frontline changes, actually there's almost no change because these are all generally gray zones on both Russian and Ukrainian mappings. So we move into the western flank. So in the western flank, we have no fighting reported at Khernevo region, very unusual. In the further south, we have fighting reported. Ukrainians are attacking in the Snagos region. Geolocation of Ukrainian forces inside Krasno-Otobolskoye or Otobolskoye confirmed Ukrainian capture or presence around Krasno-Otobolskoye. And Russian forces are putting pressure on Vishnevka, Snagos, Panasovka, Vinezapnoye. Shelling reported Obukovka as well as Darino, as well as Lyubimovka. So the Ukrainians are only attacking in the Snagos region, and it looks like they are struggling to hold the position in a very firm way because they're constantly getting harassed by the Russian forces as the Russian forces continue to ramp up their presence in the region. So yeah, this is not looking good for the Ukrainians, but no, what can I do? I'm not the Ukrainian commander. So yeah, that's all for the Kursk front. And the shelling reports in the rear positions don't have a lot of patterns per se. There is a lot more around the Bilopilia region, Bayaro, Lezachi, Bilopilia, Voronivka, and Rishki. These are both. These are all the position shelled. There's shelling reported at Kotin as well as Stekivka. There is a geolocation of a missile strike on the Ukrainian forces geolocated at north of Rakivka. Shelling is also reported over here. And what is this called? Volodymyrivka. So wrong color. Volodymyrivka. So generally, it looks like there is some more cluster of forces around this area. Probably the reserve force that is preparing for the Grushkovo offensive, but yeah, didn't seem to work out, I guess. Over in the Khrushchev region, for the first time in a long time, Khrushchev is not getting shelled. The position getting shelled is actually north of it, over at Hodonivka. Bakiv got shelled again for the first time in some time. Zvesa as well as Yampil continue to be struck. So there is definitely still Ukrainian presence around these areas, and however, there's not much to really read into it at this moment. And you can see the defenses are now all marked, so that's very interesting as well. So that's it. So this is the SITREP for the day of 928 for the 8th of September. Do press the like button, subscribe, check out the conclusions from yesterday. For those that do not know, conclusions is very different from SITREP. It contains a lot more selective topics that I'll be talking about. Every time it will be different. Of course, I also summarize part of the things happening in the significant things that happened over the past day, and yeah, but the SITREP is more comprehensive. The conclusions basically just talk general things, and of course some of these selected topics that I feel like talking about for that day. So anyway, thank you for watching. Do press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next update.